really difficult for a candidate to come in who is saddled with the policies that are on.
But let's say,
oh boy,
let's say, just throwing out a
look
wild
at you trying to preserve the relationship all of a sudden.
A wild hypothetical. Let's say the candidate wasn't part of the government. Let's say the candidate did have a lot of economic experience. Let's say the candidate did deal with crises. Let's say the candidate had a plan to deal with the challenges in the here and now.
You sneaky, you're running as an outsider.
I am an outsider.
Wow, that's all. So you're going to be coming in there to say, I have not been in the government. I have worked in the financial markets. I understand all the things that go around trade. It's
okay. He's an outsider, at least. Okay. So just be nice to him. He has no involvement in the current disaster unfolding in Canada, both economically, but also with regard to civil liberties. He's just on the outside looking in. No clue.
You know, he's just been gazing at Canada from the King's private box at Wimbledon, thinking, my goodness, if only there was some way I could help. Canada, this is a man that is in part responsible for the economic disaster that we are
no
all
small part.
No. Well, I mean, he's been involved. He's been heavily involved. This is a man who is Chrystia Freeland's son's godfather. Okay. This is a person that Justin Trudeau has relied upon for advice for at least the last 5 years on an economic front. He is committed to net zero. He is committed to just transition away from oil and gas and fossil fuels. He is married to a woman who works hand in hand with Gerald Butts. This is Justin Trudeau's best friend. Mark Carney couldn't get any more insider if he was a hemorrhoid on Justin Trudeau. Okay, he couldn't get any more insider than that. This is a very dangerous man that has taken a swing at the Canadian prime ministership. And man, if you haven't if you haven't signed up for free for your Liberal Party of Canada membership to be able to vote for anybody other than this guy, my God, now's your moment, people.
Yeah, he was Justin Trudeau's advisor on COVID. And then he was Justin Trudeau's advisor, I guess, on the economy. And so if you look at the two largest disasters of the last 5 years of Justin Trudeau's leadership, that's it.
Yes.
And then he wrote an article, I think it was in the Globe and Mail during the Freedom Convoy.
Saw that.
Where he suggested that the likes of Tamara Leach and Chris Barber and others were seditionists. And he also suggested that they should follow the money, track it down, and put a stop to it. What happened right after? They are treated as seditionists with the invocation of the Emergencies Act, which is a wartime law dedicated for 9/11, Pearl Harbor.
Massive events, yes.
Not the honkening. And they have their bank accounts frozen. He signaled that to his friend Chrystia Freeland, and then the government did exactly that. And he's never once walked back the idea that you should treat your fellow Canadians who just disagree with your buddy Justin as terrorists. He did that to us. That idea that they do those things, it didn't come from nowhere. It didn't come from the ether. It came from the brain trust of the Liberal Party, which has always been Mark Carney.
We issued Freedom of Information Act request all communications from Mark Carney to any one of those people.
Oh my God, that's brilliant.
That's what we should do. Anyway, don't tell anyone, Sheila. Like, everybody keep that on the down low.
Don't tell anybody. It's just between us.
No, but he is an extraordinarily sneaky and I thought mean-spirited person on that show. That interview was just full of sort of mean-spirited barbs. And what did he call Pierre Poilievre? He called him like a villain and I can't even remember the insult that he named him. But I see Mark Carney as like equal parts Lord Voldemort and Mr. Smithers from The Simpsons, right? Like he's always just tenting his fingers and scheming for the next big thing.
Right.
But the crazy thing is he is so well connected that he could do a hell of a lot of damage to the Canadian economy before October and before voting day. And not only that, I was just thinking about this morning. The plum gold-plated, ruby-encrusted offer that he could make to Jagmeet Singh and the NDP. And this is like, I'm just going to go back to this. Okay, there is a very real chance because of how terribly the NDP and the Liberals are doing in the polls in Canada that they are going to band together under some brand new crazy rebrand and try and, convince Canadians that they're the better choice than the Conservatives. But I think that both of those parties are underestimating the amount of vengeance that Canadians are right now feeling for the Liberal and NDP parties. Doesn't matter what they come back as, don't fall for it. We're not voting for them. The end. Like we just got to commit to this wholesale.
I find Carney to be equal parts Nosferatu and Greta Thunberg.
He loves Greta. He loves Greta.
He's part of a movement.
I bet that if we looked hard enough, we'd be able to find funding strings going straight from Mark Carney and or his well-connected companies and ventures straight to Greta Thunberg. I bet it wouldn't take that much digging.
So that one was you. This last one, to follow up on your suggested story, is mine, because you just mentioned all the connections that Mark Carney has, and he probably would have being able to avoid the world talking about these connections, but not now, jerk off, because you want to be in charge of us.
Well, who have we here?
This is Mark Carney and his wife being rather friendly with Ghislaine Maxwell, known sex trafficker, the Carla Homolka to Epstein's Paul Bernardo, if you will.
Yes.
And he says, "Oh, I hardly know her, but I don't hardly know a lot of people that I just lay out on the grass with the way he is there. It's him that's beside Ghislaine on the grass there and not his wife. From what I understand, his wife is a long time, to believe his words, acquaintance of Ghislaine Maxwell. They went to school together, and apparently they've maintained this acquaintanceship for a very long time. There are a lot of people that I went to school with that I haven't spoken to in 30 years, but these two lay out on the grass with her. So I guess we're just all going to not talk about this.
These photos were taken at a festival in England that was like a hedonistic festival, like an all-ages hedonism festival. So, nothing says completely normal, Sheila, like being photographed by one of the world's best known pedophile enablers at an all-ages hedonism festival in England. Yeah. And that's Mark Carney for you right there. Yeah. Can you imagine, because of what's happening in Great Britain right now, okay, can you imagine the levels of perversion that would be shaken out if we looked at Mark Carney's full network list? I mean, I can't imagine the skeletons hiding in those closets.
Right. And this is not like they're photographed in their ball gowns at the same function where there's like a gazillion fancy people at. This is them like laid out friendly at the grass, enjoying a shared interest. This isn't like, oh, we're at a gala together. There's 100 fancy rich people here, and so there will be photographs taken. This is like, we are friendly, flopping out on the grass together. There's something else happening.
This is Ghislaine Maxwell toes up and Mark Carney toes down. Like there is a little bit too much familiarity there for anybody to just sort of write it off as a passing acquaintance.